cameras tightly. If anything falls out of the truck, I'm not allowed to go out and pick it up. But let's head on in. We're going to start off in the Little Etruria Forest. Now keep a sharp eye out. It can be difficult to find forest animals. They have natural colors and markings that help them blend in pretty well with their surroundings. See? Oh, look on the right, there's an okapi. At first glance, you might think that it's related to a zebra, but it's actually the only known relative of a giraffe. Yeah, go look at the head. The head's very similar in shape to a giraffe's head, and they even have long tongues. In fact, the okapi's tongue is so long, it can lick its own ears. Alright, but let's see if there's anything hanging around by the watering hole. They're usually pretty good gathering spot to the animals. Sometimes if we're lucky, we might get to see something rare, like maybe a black rhino. I say maybe because they are very scarce. Poachers have killed hundreds of thousands of them for their horns, and today there's less than 5,000 black rhinos left in the entire world. It's such a shame, too. I mean, their horns are made of keratin. That's the same protein that makes up our hair and fingernails. Oh, look across the water. There's a black rhino. Pull up right here. We'll stop for a second. If you get a look at the mouth, you see it's got a pointed upper lip. It's called the prehensile lip, and these are like fingers to grasp leaves off of trees. So to live out in forested areas like this as browsers. It's a big animal too. That rhino there weighs 3,000 pounds, and it can charge up to 35 miles per hour. It's pretty quick for an animal that size. Alright, coming up ahead on both sides of the truck, you'll see a couple of black and white birds. These are saddle-billed storks. They get the name because of the yellow saddle-shaped mark that's on the bill. And see, the one on the left here looks like it's got yellow eyes. That means it's a female. And the one on the top there is the one that's probably got brown eyes. That means it's the male. Straight ahead of us here is some light brown antelope. These are greater kudu. And they're females, and you can tell because they don't have any horns. Only the male kudu do. Now, the kudu are about 5 feet tall at the shoulder, which makes them the second tallest species of antelope in Africa. Also, it kind of looks like you got milk mustaches. Not an actual fact, it's just my own personal observation. Further out to the left, way in the back there's a ghost of the forest. That orange animal way in the back there behind the bushes, that's a bongo. Bongos get the nickname the ghost of the forest because they're rarely ever seen. Alright, let's head on down to the Safi River. The river's a really good spot to see some Nile hippos, and we usually have pretty good luck seeing them in the waters ahead. They are pretty big, even at birth. Now, when a hippo is born, it already weighs 85 pounds, and a full-grown male, they'll tip the scales at around 5,000 pounds. And just because they're very big, it doesn't mean that they're always easy to see. They are known to hold their breath in the water for up to 8 minutes. There's a couple on the right. They're a little hard to see, though. Let's see if we can find some more. And just keep checking the water, because they usually come out of it at night. That's normally when they feed. And every night, hippos will eat up to 90 pounds of vegetation. That's a lot of salad. A lot of pink-backed pelicans out here, too. These big gray and white birds. Usually we'll see the pink on their back during the mating season. And look on the left, there's tons of hippos right here in the water. I'll pull a few more feet. We'll stop here in a second. And by the way, a group of hippos, they're called a bloat. Now, if you ever see them move in the water, so what they do, it'll actually sink to the bottom of the river, then they walk along the floor, or even just push off and glide. That's actually why the name hippopotamus translates to river horse. Alright, let's go a little further up the river, and we'll see what else we can find. Over the rail, some more hippos out of the water there. Let's cross over this bridge. Keep an eye out for Nile crocodiles. Crocodiles even snap their jaws shut with a pressure of up to 2,000 pounds per square inch. Hey, look here on the left. It's enough power to crush the bones of their prey apart in any effort. They're huge. They may not look like they're this high up, but they're about 16 feet long. And if you think about it, that's almost as long as a giraffe is tall. Alright, well, so far I've been to the forest and the river. Next, I'm heading out to the savannah. The savannah is a completely different ecosystem, and out there we'll find a whole lot of different animals. And speaking of difference, coming up on the right, we'll get a closer look at an ancient baobab tree. They're also known as upside-down trees, and it's because the branches look a lot like the roots. But like I said, they're ancient. They lived for about 2,000 years, and this tree over here is already halfway there. Now, in order to survive long periods of drought, baobab trees store a lot of water in those trunks, and they remain leafless like this for about 9 months out of the year. And because it holds so much water, elephants will use them as a water source. So what the elephants will do, they'll scrape out the outer bark of the tree with their tusks, and they'll reach in, they'll pull out the inner bark, and they'll chew on it for moisture. Alright, let's head into the savannah, see what animals are hanging around out here today. There's a giraffe up ahead. Can't miss them. They're only 20 feet tall. But there are several different species of giraffe. The ones we'll find out here are called the Maasai giraffe. They get the name Maasai because they're native to the Maasai Mara region of Africa. Over here on the right, look at some wildebeest. You know what's a nickname for wildebeest? No? You're very close. It's actually new. Yeah, it's spelled G-N-U. They get the name from the grunting sound that they make. So you kind of think like how a cow would moo, wildebeest will moo. Speaking of cows, man, holy cattle up ahead. Look at the size of the horns. Those horns are about 6 feet long, and right beneath the head, they could be as big as 20 inches around. See a few younger ones out there too, so their horns are still growing in. Now that big giant tan antelope over there by that green truck, that's an eland. And elands are the largest antelopes. Full-grown males like him weigh a ton, literally 2,000 pounds. But the cool thing about him, that eland there, he has a standing vertical jump of up to 8 feet. I mean, look at him, he's just solid muscle right there. Here come some of the younger cows. And those young ones are about 2 years old, but you can see the big guy pulling up right behind them there. Now the Ankole, they have a few different nicknames. Their most common one is Watusi cattle. They got the name from the tribe that first domesticated them. Even though they are domesticated, they're mind sharing the savannah with any of the wild animals. Another eland out here on the left back there. Alright, let's see if we get a close look at the giraffes. And the giraffes are doing what they do best, eating. They can eat up to 20 hours a day. That doesn't leave a lot of time for sleep, you know? In fact, the giraffes only sleep for like maybe 30 minutes a day. And it's not even 30 minutes at once either. Just a few minutes here and a few minutes there. And when they sleep, they actually stand up while they sleep. It's very rare to see them lay on the ground. It takes them a few moments before they get back up on all fours, so it makes them more vulnerable to predators. But if you do see a giraffe laying on the ground, it's a good sign. It just means they're very comfortable with their surroundings. And we can't stop right here next to this one. She's a little too close, and giraffes are very curious animals. The wardens don't like it when they pick up 20-foot tall hitchhikers. Especially that one. She's also a resident troublemaker. And she's very good about getting on the road and causing all sorts of giraffe jams. I'll tell you what, we'll see if we can find another giraffe that's not too close and also doesn't have its head behind a tree. Some sable antelope out in the hills there to the left too. They're the official emblem for the reserve. And the horns of the sables are about 5 feet in length, and they are not afraid to use them. And they will butt heads with each other for courtship or dominance displays. They'll even use them to fend off potential predators. Now within a herd of sables, there's always one that's darker than the rest, and it's always going to be the most dominant one. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if it's a male or a female. Whoever is the baddest is the boss. Alright, we're going to keep on going. Looks like some zebras coming up from behind the bushes up there. Those are the Hartman's mountain zebra. They're one of 3 different zebra species. Unlike common zebras, their stripes don't go all the way around the belly, just kind of stop along the side. Some young ones out there too. When they're first born, they're up and running within about 15 minutes. And when the zebras are born in the wild, they're born during the migration, so they have to learn to run quickly so they can keep up with everybody. But we're going to stop right here, get a good look at some wildebeest, some zebras, a baby giraffe, and some adult giraffes. And some little gazelles way out to the right too. Those little guys are out there, they're springboks. And the name fits pretty well. They could spring into the air about 6 feet high and 13 feet across. And that baby giraffe, by the way, when he was first born, he was already 6 feet tall. And within his first year, he will nearly double in height. He was born back in February, and I believe he's already over 9 feet tall at this point. Alright, well I think it's time that we start making our way towards elephant country. What do you say? Sound good? Alright, it's Monday, let's go. We'll also swing around by Monkey Point. And we'll see if we can maybe find some mandrills. They are the most colorful monkeys in the world. I'm gonna tell you right now though, if you see a mandrill, please do not tease the monkeys, because you know what they throw. Yeah, you laugh now. Trust me, that's a souvenir you don't want. Alright, there's the backside of a couple of elephants on the right here. This is a small herd of a mother and daughter. That's daughter on the right, mom on the left. I know it's not the most ideal angle, but we'll stop here. Have full-grown female elephants. They weigh somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 pounds. They maintain that weight to eat about 300 pounds of food every day. Now on the left, this is Monkey Point. The mandrills, they can be shy. Sometimes they hide in the trees or even behind the rocks. It looks like they want to be shy. Alright, it could have been batata. I'll tell you what, we'll go a little further into elephant country. Fingers crossed with any luck. Maybe we'll get to find another herd. And we'll head on down to the red clay pits. Sometimes the elephants will go out there. They'll eat the clay for the minerals. It's kind of like taking a vitamin. Those red clay pits will be coming up just on the other side of this old bridge. This old bridge, we have absolutely nothing to worry about. Why do you all look so nervous? I mean, come on, you're on vacation. I thought you were supposed to relax. Alright, well, let's go to the clay pits up ahead. We'll see a lot of tusk marks out here. By the way, both male and female elephants do have ivory tusks. And even on reserves, they're being targeted by poachers for them. So to protect the elephants, we've invited scientists here to study their vocal patterns. And by studying how the elephants talk to each other, we're learning what it is that they need in order to survive. Now, one of the interesting things we learned through these studies is that the elephants are afraid of bees. We've been able to use that knowledge to help out some farmers. They've been having issues with elephants going onto their farms and destroying their crops. So to keep the elephants out without harming them, we've helped the farmers set up beehive fences. That way, as the elephants get near, they hear the bees, and they go around everything. So this way, they don't destroy any of the crops, so they don't get hurt. Also, the farmers now have an additional crop with the honey that's produced. Alright, coming up ahead, we'll see a flock of greater flamingos, and these are the palest of their species. When they hatch, they're not even pink, they're gray. They eat a lot of brine shrimp, which is high in beta-carotene. And it's the beta-carotene that turns them pink. And usually it's going to take them about a year or two before they fully develop those pink feathers. And it looks like there's more elephants way out there to the left in the distance. And actually, that one right there, that's the big bull. You can tell he's a bull because he's all alone. When the boys reach maturity, they leave the herd. And a big guy like him weighs about 13,000 pounds. To maintain that weight, he'll eat about 300 pounds of food as well, just like the girls do. Alright, let's head on over to white rhino territory. The white rhinos, they used to be one of our greatest success stories. But even today, their horns are highly valued on the black market. Every time a poacher sells a rhino horn, they take that money, then they go out and buy more sophisticated weapons to hunt even more rhinos. It's a vicious cycle. It's been very difficult to break. Oh, but here we go. There's some white rhinos. See, they're really not white in color. The name itself comes from the Afrikaans word vite. Vite means wide, and that's because the white rhino really just has a wide mouth. But how cool is this? These are 5,000-pound animals just a few feet away from us. So, do you see what separates these rhinos from this truck?
20 feet.
It's the gas pedal. Yeah, not like it's going to do as much good though. They can charge up to 35 miles per hour, and we can drive at a whopping 8. Well, luckily, I have a pretty good temperament. Oh, look on the left, right behind the rocks is a cheetah. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals. On average, they can sprint to 60 miles per hour. It's also a daytime hunter. They use their sense of sight when they hunt, not their sense of smell like other cats. If you saw the face, notice they have those black teardrop marks that run below the eyes, and those marks help reduce the sun's glare when they're hunting. So there's another one walking around with the head on the left. A couple more, actually. But a group of cheetahs, they're called a coalition. Alright, let's start making our way up to the Copies. The Copies are a big rock formation, and sometimes we'll see lions out there. Now the lions, they like to go up on the big rocks to scan the savannah for prey. So if we're going to see any lions today, somewhere up ahead here will be our best bet. But do keep in mind that they are nocturnal animals. Oh, there we go. Look at the far right. There he is. Oh, man, awake. Look at that, too. Typically, they're inactive for about 16 to 20 hours a day. And he's still pretty young. The lions are only about 3 years old out here. You can tell with him he's pretty young because he doesn't have a full mane yet. It's still growing in. He's still a big boy. He weighs about 500 pounds. You get an idea of how big that is? You see those paws right in front of him? Those paws are bigger than your face. And those things are like the size of dinner plates. Alright, stepping around the turn on the little hill here to the right, you see a couple of shaggy gray antelopes are right in front of us right now. But these are water bucks. When they go into the water, their fur emits a greasy secretion, which is kind of thought to make them waterproof. And there's an ostrich. It's a female ostrich. You can tell because she's got gray feathers. Males have black feathers. Even though they do have feathers and wings, they don't fly, but they can run up to 40 miles per hour. Alright, there's a lioness at the back of the Copies over here. And it is more than hunting for the pride, boys or girls. Girls, right. Oh, look on top of the rocks, there's another lioness up top there. Yeah, luckily for us, all these lions, they do most of their hunting at night. Yeah, their night vision is 6 times better than ours. Over here on the left and top of the burrow is a warthog, a couple of them actually. Warthogs are the largest burrowing mammals, and please do not call them Pumbaa. No, in Swahili the word Pumbaa means foolish one. In reality, they're very smart. In fact, warthogs are so smart that when they go to their burrows, they'll back into them. That way, in case any predator try to attack, they'll think twice when they see those razor-sharp tusks. Alright, now look at that ostrich on the right. Fun fact about the ostrich, in the history of Kilimanjaro safaris, 2 of our drivers have been bitten by one. I'm one of them. And that's why we ain't stopping. No, luckily they don't have any teeth though. But you know what, I can show you their eggs. So they lay their eggs in a communal nest. It's called a clutch. Whichever bird's most dominant, you get to lay your eggs in the center. But as you get past this tree on the right, look up ahead on the right, about 15, 20 feet away. There they are. And those are the largest bird eggs. Each one down there weighs about 3 pounds. To get an idea of how big that is, one of them is about equal in size to 2 dozen chicken eggs. And the shells are so hard that any one of us here can gently stand on one and it won't even break. Coming up ahead, we'll see some of the newest kids on the block. They call the Nigerian Dwarf Goats, and they've been a very welcome addition to the reserve. But they're small size, they don't take up a lot of space. Look at them, they're adorable. Now you might think that they're babies, but they're not. They're just fun size. When these little guys get playful, they'll jump up and down, and then they'll butt each other in the head. When they do that, it's kind of like a way of high-fiving one another. It also helps them to establish their dominance within their group, and it'll even help them mature as they age. Alright everybody, well our safari is coming to the end, so I'm going to have to drop you off at the Warden's Post. I hope you had a great time today. I want to thank you very much for choosing Kilimanjaro Safaris, and please come back soon, because no 2 safaris are ever the same. The animals definitely make sure of that. I want you to remember that wherever you live, there's ways you can protect your local wildlife and their habitats. You can even help conserve the habitats of some of the animals that we've seen here today. It's really easy too, and all you gotta do is recycle your old electronics. Devices like our cell phones and laptop computers, well, they contain a metallic ore called coltan, and it's commonly mined in areas where some of these animals live. So whenever it's time for you to upgrade your devices, go ahead and recycle the old ones. That way, the more we all do that, the less the animals will lose their homes. Now, while you're still out here in Harambe, if you want some other up-close animal encounters, I recommend that you visit the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. It's an easy hike with a lot of great animal viewing opportunities. And maybe a little later on, check out Rafiki's Planet Watch. He's got to take the train to get out there. It's called the Wildlife Express, and it starts running at 9:30. Our stop will be coming up ahead, so now will be a good time to gather up all your belongings. And before you leave, make sure you double check your seats. A lot of times, wallets and cell phones will bounce out of pockets. So just take a few extra seconds and make sure that you have everything with you. That way nothing gets left behind.